Hi, my name is Dwight Gillespie, and this is Change Your Life. We want to welcome you back to the channel. On this channel, basically, we try to give constructive advice on how you can better your life. And we have a lot of videos available on things that you can do to improve the quality of your life. And we are in Queens, which is why you hear all that noise in the background there. I think they're cutting stuff across the street. There's always stuff going on. It's winter. It's a beautiful day today here in New York City. Anyway, today we're going to talk about something that I learned about a long time ago, and it's called the 51-49 principle. And it's an idea that I always liked. It's going to be a short video, I think. But the 51-49 principle is this idea that if 51% of you is willing, that you can drag the other 49% along, no matter what it is that you want to do, you know, and you wait for that swing to happen, that change of balance in your life to happen, right? As an example, like, you know, many of you, if you watch this, you know that I'm in recovery. I've been in recovery for a while. One of my many substances that I fell prey to was heroin, which I, enjoyed for a while, and then I didn't. But I couldn't stop, right? And I wanted to stop. And 49% of me was really willing to stop. It's that 51% that couldn't give it up that really made it difficult. And I got to something that in recovery, we call it the gift of desperation, where I got to such a point where that really began to sway, and it became like an overriding goal for me. Like I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't live the way I was living anymore. I just couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't wake up another day as a using addict, and I went back into recovery, and I've been there. I just celebrated 10 years, as a matter of fact, and which is an amazing accomplishment for recovery, not for me. I mean, and I'll talk about this for a second, because if you're out there and you're struggling with this, I want you to know that you don't have to live that life. Like this 51-49, if you can get over that hump, and get to that place of 51% of you really wanting to change your life, you can do that. And people say, oh, you can't change overnight. Well, there are some things that you can change overnight. Like overnight, I became I became a recovering addict, right? Overnight, I stopped smoking. I went from being a smoker to a non-smoker, Overnight, I became a person who went from eating anything in sight to eating a very healthy diet. And actually, as of today, it's almost exactly 11 months since I started my new food plan. And I don't really call it a diet, because it's not. It's a way of living for me now. And that was October 12th I started it. And since then, I've now lost 85 pounds. I'm down to 195. I was 280 when I started this. And my goal is 177. And I've been exercising and things like that to lead a better, healthier life. And all of this has to do with this 51-49 principle, right? And I say, I looked at this, and while I'm in that thing waiting, right? We talk about, like, for me, when I'm trying to make these decisions on these major life changes, right? I'm in that 51% that keeps wanting to, let's just say food, for example, right? Just wants to keep eating whatever I want. And I look, and I'll challenge anybody, and I'm going to say this right now. I am fat phobic. I am absolutely fat phobic. And I'm going to tell you why. I said all that about body positivity and everything, that's great when you're 35 or younger. When you don't have bad knees, when you don't have bad hips, when the doctor isn't talking about being pre-diabetic, when the doctor isn't telling you about heart medication because, you're getting palpitations and your heart isn't functioning properly, your cardiovascular system is compromised. All these things are talking about cutting off toes off of your feet because you refuse to stop eating sweets. See, all that stuff is great when you're young. You get to be my age. I'm 59 now. I'm going to be 60 in March. You get to my age, and all that stuff changes. And I'm not fat phobic because I'm worried about the way I look. I'm fat phobic because while I'm not afraid of dying, I'm afraid of living hard. I'm afraid of having to be dependent on other people as I get older. And if you think that you can go through your life and live like that and be 400 pounds and always and never have to depend on, you're either going to die young or you're going to be dependent on people at some point, right? So anyway, I was in there, and I was in this 51-49, and 49% of me wanted to stop doing what I was doing to myself. And 51% was like, this is really good pizza. And I love pasta and I love pizza. And I had a good friend who said, you can't tell me you're never going to eat pasta again. You love pasta. And I said, I love heroin too. And I did. I loved heroin. I'm not going to kid you. Yeah, it brought me to some really dark places, but so did the pasta. Like, I don't eat these things because they trigger me. And, and I talked about this a lot in some of my other videos. But the thing with this is, right, so I had this 51-49. 49% of me did want to get better, and 51 didn't, right? And the 51 that didn't is always going to rule. But the 49% makes itself known. And that's the noise between my ears. The noise between my ears that tells me you can do this. The noise between my ears that says you feel very uncomfortable like this. We really need to change our way of living. That's that 49%. That's that noise that goes on between my ears. That's the 49% just yelling at me to get off my ass and do something about this, right? The 51% is the 51% that says, "Oh, we look good at any size. Oh, we can eat if we want. This is our only vice." That was another thing I used to tell myself all the time. "Oh, you quit doing drugs and you're not drinking, you're not smoking. You should at least be able to eat whatever you want." Really? Well, then why not do the drugs? And I got into a confrontation online. As a matter of fact, the woman called herself a psychologist, and she's like, "Oh, you're fat phobic." I said, "Well, you're right. I am. I don't deny that. Calling me names is not going to change my mind, right?" And that's, and I always believe this. Once you start calling people names, you have just lost the intellectual argument. Once you resort to name calling, it means you don't have an intellectual argument left. So now you have to resort to trying to belittle me with names. And that's fine. Then I know I won. I won because you're not giving me any intellectual reason to believe you or to agree with you. You don't debate that way. You debate with facts, not with name calling. Anyway, I said just that. Would you say this to an alcoholic? Would you say this to a heroin addict? That, "Oh, you're fine. As many puncture wounds as you have in your arms. Oh, you look great." No, you wouldn't. So why would you say it to someone who's addicted to food? And what happened for me is it began to sway, and it went 50-50. And I would, my friend Jose, who was a mainstay in my life, like Jose's a great guy. Jose never judged me. And I don't judge people who are going through this. Trust me, I don't. I know the struggle. Like, I know this struggle. He never judged me. He continually encouraged me. And I would call him like really upset, like, "Jose, I bought all this good food." I would go out and I would buy like all this salad stuff and, all this all natural crap. And a week later I would throw it away as like the hydrator in my refrigerator. It was just covered with the water from the lettuce and stuff like that. It's all brown and I'd have to clean it up. "Jose, I did it. I just threw away another $75 worth," which bothers me. Like, people are hungry in the world, and I feel that. Like, I hate throwing away food, which is something that was put into my head as a kid. Finish everything on your plate and all that kind of stuff, which is nothing for nothing. Not to claim victim status, but may have had something to do with the way I was. It's not true. That's a lie. I overeat because I was addicted to the process of eating, and I was once I got the taste in my mouth, I couldn't stop. But that was part of it, like getting to that because before you get to sway it the other way, 49-51, where 51% of you wants to do this, and you that's the willingness that you needed to put you over the edge. First, you go to 50-50. That's the wishy. "Oh man, I want to. I don't." And you start to make these little attempts and stuff, and that's when I hear people say diets don't work. Oh yeah, they do. That's a lie. You're lying to yourself. Diets don't work if you don't work them, and that's part of this process, right? Is that you can't beg for help, right? I had a friend who says this. He said, you can't be in a pizzeria chomping down on a chicken parm with a side of pasta and go, I don't understand this. I just can't. Diets work if you work them. All of them work if you work them. One of the things that's been very successful for me, and I've mentioned her before, Susan Pierce Thompson, Bright Line Eating. I plug it every chance I get because it helped me. It worked for me. This woman talked to me like an addict because I'm an addict. Like I get addicted to stuff and sugar and flour, and she lays it out in her book, and it, for me it worked. But I'm not even getting to that. That's what I did when I crossed over because I read, look, you want to know how to diet? Ask a fat person. Fat person can give you a rundown on every diet there is. I did them all. Like Jenny Craig. I did Weight Watchers. I did everything. Like I don't even have to name them all. I had at least 20 books on how to lose weight and do all this other good crap. I didn't employ any of them. I didn't do them. And that's why, this stuff doesn't work. Sure, it doesn't work if the binder on the books is never creased. If all you're doing is using it as a hot pan holder for the table when you put your freaking pasta on it. It works for that. Look, no spots on the table. But they don't work if you don't open them up and read them and employ it. And that's part of the 5149 as well. When that noise becomes great enough in your head, and 51% of yourself says, I want to do this. And this is what will at least in my experience, what will happen, right, is eventually that 5149 becomes 60-40, becomes 70-30. See, because it was the exact opposite for me. I at one time, I would say it was 199 that I was going to eat. Like, I didn't even think about not doing this, right? And I made every excuse in the book. And I use this with everything. I did it with drugs. I did it with alcohol. I did it with cigarettes. I did, this 5149 principle works for everything in my life. And it works right now. Like, I complain because I don't make good use of my time sometimes, like doing this stuff. I'm not good on this social media stuff, right? It's almost like I make people have to work at finding me on social media. And if you want to do this and be prosperous at it, you have to work at it. And I'm getting to that point where I'm getting tired of throwing money at stuff because that's been my answer, right? If I give somebody $5,000, I'll sell 1 million books. It doesn't work like that, especially in today's age, and it's putting yourself out. And I'm right at about 50-50 now because I'm getting there, man, where I'm starting to put more of an effort into this and understanding and getting over that fear. And that's another thing we're going to talk about is the fear of success and how all this works against that. And people say, well, how could you ever be afraid of success? And well, it's easy. People, at least myself, I'll talk about me. I enjoy the comfort of pain that I am familiar with, right? Familiar pain is very comfortable for the possibility of pain that I don't understand. Like, I know I can deal with this. I live an okay life, I'm retired. I got a little pension. I do all right. It's okay. I'm not wealthy by any means, but, I don't have to worry about my next meal, and I got a warm, dry roof over my head. So, wow, and I can justify all of this that way. But what becomes is, and we talked about purpose before, and another thing too. And my boy Viktor Frankl, man, what a guy! He's one of my go-tos. Him and Stephen Covey talk about both of them a lot, and finding that purpose. That purpose, and that purpose will bring you and bring you over that hump of that 5149, and that'll move you when you really have a purpose, when you really have a focus, and you understand this is what I really want to do. And I really hope you find that. And I hope that this was somewhat informative. And remember that noise in your head, that noise that keeps telling you to get off your ass and do something, right? That noise that keeps telling you to get off drugs, that noise that keeps telling you, go get a better job, go out there, seek a better job, have a better future, get a better career, get off your ass, go do something, go exercise, you'll feel better, right? And it's funny because a lot of the things that make us feel good afterwards, we are so reluctant to do, or at least I am. I'm reluctant to do them, right? The things that make me feel really good, reading, exercising, and I do these things, but it's only afterward that I can really appreciate them. And it brings me to that next level that, like I said, you go to then 55-45, then 60-40, and 65-35. I'm getting good at the math, yeah? Anyway, it takes a lot. And anyway, my name is Dwight Gillespie. This is Change Your Life, and I hope that I was able to inspire somebody today. And if you like this video, please, by all means, hit that subscribe, hit the like button, just share it with your friends. Even if you want to just say, this guy's a real man, look at what he's talking about. It's all bullshit. Send it to them, right? If you're upset that I said I'm fat phobic and you think that that's wrong, let me know. Put it in the comment section. Maybe we can have a discussion about it. But no name calling, because as I said, name calling is the end of intellectual conversation, and you just became a bully, and that's all that name calling is. Anyway, my name is Dwight Gillespie. This is Change Your Life. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Be well.